Hi everybody, it's Honest John again. Now, the murder of the 5 policemen in Dallas was a tragic and unwarranted event. The shooter may have been set off by the incidents of police murdering black people in Louisiana and Minneapolis, but it appears that he was headed for violence anyway. He was on that trajectory. And when they looked at his background, he had been preparing to engage in some kind of violence for quite some time. Ironically, the Dallas Police Department is a model for what police reform should look like. David Brown, since he became the police chief there, has embraced community policing, improved the training of the police, set high and clear standard for the use of force, especially for shootings, and set up a policy where the FBI would investigate the use of force incidents that the Dallas police get involved in. And most important, he did something no police chief anywhere else in the country has done. Against the objections of the police unions, he got rid of the bad apples. He fired over 70 police with troublesome records, bad attitudes, and problem behaviors. And as a result, police complaints are way down as far as the Dallas Police Department goes. And use of force incidents are down. And questionable use of force incidents are way down. So, what's even more tragic is that the Dallas police paid the price for the bad policing that occurred in other places. Now, one of the first suspects to emerge in this shooting, which it turned out to be misinformation, a young black guy dressed in camouflage carrying an assault weapon at the demonstration. It turned out he wasn't the shooter. They did locate him, and they asked him, well, why were you carrying that gun? And he said, because I have a right to. Yeah, you have a right to. But think about this. In the confusion that occurred when the shooting started happening, it would have been very easy for him to have wound up in a dangerous and even fatal encounter with the police, who would certainly have reasonably believed that he might have been the shooter or an accessory to the shooting. So he could have wound up dead. I think that when you have demonstrations like this as part of the permit process for it, there should be a no gun law. If you have a right to demonstrate, you have a right to own a gun, but those are separate rights. Because suppose that this guy had been the shooter. He would have been right in the middle of the crowd. And he would have been able to actually do far more damage than the shooter did, who was sniping from up above. From the middle of the crowd, you start shooting and you turn in a circle and you're just firing into the crowd, you're going to kill and injure a lot of people. That's what we've seen in Florida. That's what we've seen everywhere where there's a mass shooting in a crowd. See, these open carry laws, the people who are for them, who are mostly nuts and idiots, they have this whole thing, they have this good guy with a gun scenario. The way to stop a bad guy with a gun is with a good guy with a gun. Here's the problem, it's never happened. It has never ever happened. If there were any validity at all to that expression, then it would have happened by now, and it hasn't. But here's the thing, because he was in the middle of the crowd, if he had been the shooter, he would have killed a whole lot of people. On campuses. Now, in Texas, all of a sudden now, you're allowed to open carry on campuses. Now, if a campus is a gun-free zone, then as soon as somebody spots somebody with a gun on campus, the police are notified and there's an intervention. But if it's an open carry zone, then somebody with a gun can walk anywhere he wants on campus. They can go into any building they want. They can go into the classrooms. And there will be no intervention until people start dying. Thanks for listening.